Welcome back to more highlights from the United States Chess League. This is the playoff edition with FM Mike Klein. The quarterfinal matches in the Eastern Division are now in the books, and we saw a lot of home cooking in the opening choices of the four teams that are still alive. It looked a little bit like a Scholastic tournament on Monday, as we saw a Nimzovich, a Grand Prix attack, a Dragon, and a four-knight Scotch. But some new ideas produced messy middle games, and when the evening ended, both top seeds held serve. In the 1 vs 4 matchup, the regular season Eastern Division champion Philadelphia Inventors smashed the Baltimore Kingfishers 3.5 to 1/2. Only a draw from a slightly worse position kept Baltimore from becoming the first team in USCL history to be blanked in a playoff match. The Inventors' leader, Grandmaster Sergei Ehrenberg, did what he was supposed to do on board 1. He took white, engineered a small weakness on e6, then probed it until finally infiltrating. International Master Tegshir Enkbot, who didn't win a game all season, played in place of Baltimore's two high-rated grandmasters. Ehrenberg punctuated his advantage with the clever 29 knight c5. Note that if instead knight takes f6, the reply knight takes f6 would have led to his queen being trapped. Enkbot took the bait, but white still refused the rook, instead bringing his final soldier into battle onto the new hole on d4. The Grandmaster decimated the king's side and went on to win. FIDE Master Tom Bartel dispatched Larry Kaufman on board 2, and International Master Richard Costigan atoned for a subpar regular season. Though he was unable to beat anyone in 4 tries, he avenged the Week 1 loss to FIDE Master Ralph Zimmer with the cheeky 30b3, threatening both the rook on a2 and a game-ending invasion on c2. Zimmer grasped at straws with a few checks, but Queen d2 ended the game and the match in style. The Manhattan-New York Subway Series was for borough bragging rights and a trip to the semifinals. For the Knights, it also represented a roadblock on their quest to be repeat champions of the USCL. Although New York enjoyed a healthy lifetime advantage, the Applesauce came in red hot, winners of 3 straight regular season matches to end the season. In a titanic battle on board 1, it was Grandmaster versus Grandmaster and a repeat battle from the opening week of the season. Vladimir Romanenko got white again against Tamaz Galashvili. In week 1, Romanenko won Game of the Week for his win, in what would turn out to be Galashvili's only loss of the entire season. After some very strange opening play that went from a Nimzovich to 3 knights to a sort of Philidor, Romanenko's limited army began to take control. The crowd watching online knew Galashvili was in trouble when he played 54 h4. Don't look for too much reason behind the move. Black was simply out of useful continuations. King h7 would have been met by bishop f8, while rook e4 is refuted by bishop g5 check and then bishop f6. White gobbled the pawn and went right back to business. Galashvili's king scrambled around, but simply couldn't find shelter from the rook and bishop. The game ended with a simple tactic. Black resigned since king takes g7, bishop takes c3 forks the king and rook. On board 2, Senior Master Matt Herman sacked half his army and smashed International Master Eli Vavsha to get the knights back to even. Andrew Schwartzman and FM Michael Bodek played a wild draw on board 3, even though the Applesauce's players seemed to have the better chances after the complications. But the match was really decided on board 4. National Master Alexander Katz refuted fellow Master Alex King's speculative pawn thrust, and after 18 bishop g5, King may have resigned under normal circumstances. But in a team setting you must play on, and he made a good practical choice by giving up the exchange to get rid of White's minor pieces and his passed d-pawn. Amazingly, in the next 50 moves, Katz couldn't coordinate his rooks, and it was King's bishop that controlled the board. Once the black rook got to b1, Katz was clearly worse. He gave some checks, but a few moves later, all of his pawns and his hopes were lost. King's unbelievable comeback ousted the Knights and ensured there will be a new champion of the USCL this season. The final score was 2.5 to 1.5 for the Applesauce. So the semifinal playoff picture in the Eastern Division is now set. The Inventors will enjoy draw odds against the Manhattan Applesauce. Tune in later to see what happened in Wednesday's matches where the Western Division Quarterfinals will take place. Until then, we'd like to thank our sponsors, PokerStars, Chess.com, and the ICC.